Storm Babet has caused widespread flooding throughout England and Scotland over the last couple of days, and it's so called by the Dutch Meteorological Society, named after one of their employees. The storm was forecast to hit eastern Scotland quite badly, and at least one town was evacuated as a precaution. And it's also impacted northern England, Yorkshire and the East Midlands of England quite badly, more than was forecast. And if you're not from England and you think, oh, England, it always rains, the truth is it rains more in Paris and Amsterdam than it does in London, and England isn't necessarily the most wettest place in Europe. But this particular storm is another indication of the changing climate, and the amount of rainfall that's fallen in October has set some records already. Many towns in Derbyshire in England in particular have been quite badly affected, and many roads throughout Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire and Lincolnshire have been closed due to the flooding. The city centre in Lincoln hasn't been that badly affected, but we have seen some flooding, especially around the Brayford Pool, which is a large body of water in the middle of the town, and that seems to either overflown its banks or the rain has caused quite a lot of havoc, especially around the cinema, Wagamama's and the sort of restauranty areas at the Brayford Pool. Not only that, but the water is flowing really strongly down the River Witham through the town, almost overflowing its banks, especially the bottom of the river. And downriver, a bit further down, you can see quite extensive flooding where the River Witham, that's not protected, it's not got any water defences, has broke its banks and spread right across the fields, the adjoining fields. Although this isn't particularly unusual, and obviously this is floodplain area, it is becoming more and more common where the River Witham breaks its banks and floods the land all around it. So much so that the paths by the side of the river, which is normally a lovely place to walk, the banks are burst and you can't get through. Whenever there is these weather challenges, there's always tragedy. Unfortunately, that's impacted a number of people throughout England and Scotland. Despite the poor weather conditions, as photographers, we can always find something to photograph, and especially in the centre of town where the heavy rain has left large puddles, and they often make great reflections, especially at night, where you get the lights of buildings and you get the lights reflecting on the water in the puddles. But not only that, when the ground is wet and it's up against shop windows and other lights that are on in the city centre, you get amazing reflections on the ground with lots of different colours, brings out a real vibrance, and it's a great time to go out and take your picture if you dare go out in the rain and the water and to dare get your camera wet. And despite the tragedy, despite all the disappointment, the flooding, and there's been over 1,300 homes that have been flooded, it still provides something for us photographers, even though it's really bad news for people that have been affected by this, the homes and business that has been affected by this flooding. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the first time we're going to see this type of flooding. It's happened many times, and as sort of time goes on, I'm certain not only here but in places like Australia, who have really seen quite a lot of bad flooding in recent years, it will eventually, these things will just get worse and worse. In fact, this sort of flooding events will become commonplace. Thanks very much for watching this little video. I was really keen to sort of share what the centre of Lincoln looks like as I've seen it today. I hope it's not too sad, this video, and hopefully it sort of helps you to see that even though you might have flooding in your town, it also goes on around the world as well, here in the UK too. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.